Hello, my name is Frank McKenna. I work here at UC Berkeley for the Neary SimCenter on a project funded by the National Science Foundation. In this video, I intend to demonstrate how to download and install a SimCenter application on a computer running the Windows 10 operating system. Now, the SimCenter releases a number of software applications intended for researchers. All of these applications require 5 steps to get them up and running on a Windows 10 computer. The 5 steps, basically, first step, we're going to create some directories. Second step, we're going to download some external applications and put these applications in the directories we just created. This third step, we're going to edit some of the environment variables for the operating system so that they see these applications that we just downloaded. The fourth step, we download and install the SimCenter application itself. And then fifth step, we're going to test and show that it runs. So I'm going to now demonstrate this on a Windows 10 operating system. It's a virtual machine running on my laptop computer here. So here's my Windows 10 desktop. Let's go now and install the SimCenter product. So the first step was to create some additional folders. I'm going to use the File Explorer to do that. So in the C directory, I'm going to create an additional folder. So I'm in the C directory. I click up here. I'm going to create a folder called SimCenter. So inside the SimCenter folder now, I'm going to create 2 additional directories. One of these is going to be called Dakota. The second of these folders will be called OpenSeas. So there we have it. I have a SimCenter folder. Inside there I have 2 directories, Dakota and OpenSeas. So that's step 1 completed. The second step was to download some external software. For that, I'm going to use my browser, and I'm going to use my favorite search engine, which is not Bing. No thank you. So the first thing, we're going to search for Python. To do that, we're going to search at python.org and download. There'll be our search terms. There we go, download Python from python.org. So here, it automatically is going to pop up, oh, download Python 3.8. We don't want to do that. Python 3.8 doesn't work with one of the modules we need. So we're going to download the latest version of the 3.7 version of Python. So to do that, we go down to Python 3.7. In this case, it's 3.7.7. And we're going to download this Windows x86 64-bit executable installer. So we're going to select that link, and we're going to tell the computer to run it when it downloads. So there it is. It's popped up there behind it, so we have to bring it forward. Here's the screen. The first thing we want to do is we want to make sure the Add Python 3.7 to Path is checked. So we need to check that box. And then we can hit Install Now. If you don't check that box, you have to add your Python to your environment variables. So it's not the end of the world if you skip that step. You just have to make up for it later. Okay, so Python is now installed. We don't have to do anything else. I'm going to go back to Google. Google.com. And now we're going to search for Dakota at Sandia, and we're going to go download again. So Dakota is a software package out of Sandia National Lab. We're going to click the link there to the download page. You see that the download, there's an awful lot of options. We're going to reduce these options really quickly. We're going to select Windows. Here we're going to select the latest release, 6.12. We're going to go to the command line only. And now you see we've only got one option. This is the option we want, so we're going to select that option. Again, we're going to tell the operating system to open it when it downloads. Okay, so the zip file is downloaded. Now we're going to extract it, so we hit click Extract All. And we're going to place it in that folder Dakota that we created earlier. So we're going to go to our C drive, SimCenter, Dakota. So there we go. We're going to select that folder. I'm going to select extract. So that's now going to install Dakota into that C/SimCenter/Dakota folder. Okay, so that's now extracted. Now you see it's extracted into this folder inside Dakota with a Windows x86 stuff at the end of it. We can leave that alone or we can remove it. I like to remove it. If you leave it alone, you have to make a little modification later, but let's just remove it now. So now we've renamed that to be 6.10, 6.12. Okay, so that is Dakota installed. Last up, we have OpenSeas. So OpenSeas user download page. So here we want to enter your email. If you're not already a registered user, you may have to register using that little link there. So in the middle of the page we have our Windows version. The current version I'm seeing is 3.2.1. Again, we select the link, we then press open. We're going to extract all again. Again, we're going to extract it to that SimCenter folder, and this time we're going to put it in the OpenSeas directory. Select the folder, and then we select extract. Again, we get stuff at the end of the file name that I want to remove. So now I'm just going to put in a folder OpenSeas 3.2.1. Okay, so we've downloaded all the external applications we need. So we can close all these windows. And now we got to do stuff to make them work. So let me show you that they don't actually work. So I'm opening a command window. I'm going to resize the font here a little bit so you can see better. Or maybe I can see better. There we go. So for example, if I type OpenSeas, nothing works. If I type Dakota, again, nothing works. If I type Python, you see it does work. That's because we click that little, check that little selection box. If I hadn't done that, that would not have worked. We do have to do additional things with Python though, because if we tried to import some of this packages that the software is going to import, it's actually going to fail. So for example, if I import NumPy, if I spelled NumPy right, it actually doesn't work. So I'm going to quit this, type in quit. So now what we're going to do to get NumPy running within Python, we're going to do a pip install. I could do pip install NumPy, I could do pip install SciPy, and pip install pandas. Another option to get all three of them is to do pip install Pelican. Pelican is a SimCenter module that includes NumPy, SciPy, and pandas. And it also includes some Pelican software. Okay, so that's done. So we're gonna close this now. So now we're on step 3 again. We're going to change the environment variables. So I'm going to go to the search, and we're going to type env, and that's going to bring up our control panel. So inside the control panel, there's a box, environment variables. We want to select that box. It's going to bring us to this window, which is by default set to the path and variable, and that is the variable we want to change. So we're going to edit this. We're going to create a new one. Before we do, let's open up our file browser again, File Explorer. We're going to go to our SimCenter directory. So the first environment variable we want to add is the path location of the Dakota executable. So we installed Dakota inside our Dakota directory. There's a Dakota 6.12.0. And then there's a bin folder. It's in that bin folder that the actual Dakota application resides. So what we would want to do is copy the path to the application. We'll Control C that, and we'll put it in here. So Control V now. So now we've added that path to the environment variable. We'll say OK. Now we want to add the path to OpenC. So let's go find out where the OpenC's executable is. So back to SimCenter, OpenC's bin. So the OpenC's application is in this bin directory. So we're going to select this bin directory. So Control C. We're going to add it to our path again. So we're going to edit the path, create a new line in the path. In that line, we want to paste the line, the path to OpenC's. So that's that done. So we're not quite done. Dakota needs something else. Right now there's no Python path variable. Because there's no Python path, we're going to create a new one. If there was an existing one, you'd edit it. But basically we're going to set a variable Python path, and we want that variable to point to a certain directory. Let me show you where that directory is. So we're going back to SimCenter again, inside Dakota. At the bottom there's a shared directory, so we're going to go to the shared directory, Dakota, and then Python. So this is the path now we want. So we're going to Control C this again. So that's the path to this Dakota directory there. And we're going to Control V it, so paste it in here. And then we're going to say OK. So now we have a Python path, and we've edited our path. So with that we're done. So we can select OK, and we can select OK. So we're now done. So let's go back to the terminal, command terminal. So if I now type OpenC's runs, so type exit to get out of that. And now let's try Dakota. So there's Dakota running. Okay, so that works. So the fourth step was involved going off and finding. So the fourth step involved downloading the SimCenter application. We're going to go back to Google. We're going to look up SimCenter, Neary SimCenter. That will bring you to the SimCenter homepage. And in that page, under Research Tools, we have a number of tools, all the tools listed. Let's download the EEUQ application. Now that brings us to the Tools webpage. Now each of the tools have the similar look and feel. So on the right-hand side, there's a link to download the app. We select that. This link will bring us to the Design Safe website, where we store all our applications. And we can download old versions, or the current versions will be here. So we're looking for the Windows, so we're going to select that. Now an additional step here, we have to select then this download button here, and that will start downloading the zip file. And then when it's going to be downloaded, we're going to say open. Now that it's downloaded, we're going to extract it. Again, we're going to send it to that SimCenter directory. So we're just going to put this one in SimCenter. Select the folder and extract again. Okay, so we now have all the applications downloaded that we need. Now EEUQ is a directory that contains our EEUQ application. All the SimCenter applications will be in a directory, and inside that directory there's a bunch of stuff. The application is a file in that directory. You see application, and there's EEUQ. So that's the application that we want to select to start our application. So the first time you run it, you're going to get this. Because SimCenter is not a known publisher, the security is going to say, hey, don't do this. But if you select there the more info, you then get to run it anyway, and that's what you want to do. Now this is going to fail. There you go. As I say, it's going to fail, and the reason it fails is because this is a Visual Studio application, and the Visual Studio runtime is not yet installed on this computer. That may or may not happen with your computer depending on what applications you already have installed. All Visual Studio applications need this Visual Studio runtime to be run at least once before they will work. So again, because this is a virgin machine, I have to have it run. Okay, so now if I go back to EEUQ, and before I start it again, what I'm going to do now is create a shortcut. To do this, I right-click on the file and go down to the Create Shortcut. So now I've created a shortcut. So what I'm going to do now is clean up my screen a little bit here so you can see what I'm being up to. So I'm going to move this shortcut. I'm going to move it over to the desktop by just dragging it over. So now I have EEUQ, a shortcut to EEUQ on my desktop. I can now delete my folders. This is what my computer looks like. So now let me start EEUQ again. So I'm going to double click on the shortcut. That brings up EEUQ. And I'm going to quickly demonstrate it runs. So I'm going to go down to the simulation model, click on the sim. I'm going to change the floor weights. I'm going to remove the number and replace it with the variable name, WF. I'm going to come down to the random variable tab here. For the WF, I'm going to use a normal distribution. I'm going to have the mean at 150, standard deviation at 15, and then I'm going to select the Run button. There we have it. We've got some numbers. I've got some graphics, some numbers and some columns. So with that I'm done. What I've done is I've demonstrated how to install a SimCenter research application and get it running, and then leave it ready to be running on my desktop. If you have any questions, go have a look at the tool documentation at the installation section. And if you have any further questions, go read some posts on the message board. If there's no answer there for you, post a question and we will respond. Thank you for your attention.